Mel for sitting here 4 billion years. Certainly in winter time, I would think it's going to happen. Mel, you're right.
Thanks.
Yeah, Mel.
I use that actually. Thanks.
But I'm standing over there looking ugly.
Okay, gotcha. Hey, so thanks, John, and thanks, Kevin, and thanks also to Orange County Register for hosting us all here today, and all the food trucks, right? So that's fantastic. And thank you to all of you for being here and taking time out of your day to show up. So really appreciate that. Jeff is my audio assistant or my visual assistant here. What we're going to be talking about here today is YouTube, Beyond YouTube 101. And by the way, my name is Mel Aclaro. I develop online learning programs for a software company down in Irvine, and on my blog, Screencasting Wizard, I help folks understand and can show videos on how they can digitize their own knowledge to get it online and web ready. So I only have 15 minutes with you all here today. I wish I could have more. This is part of a larger, bigger presentation I sometimes do, but we're not going to be able to talk about all of these things. And cognitively speaking, coming from a learning background, right, I know that there's only 10%, everything that I say, you're only going to retain 10% of what I say here today. So I've also made this presentation available to you to download online afterwards. So you can just go to my website, just Google me, and you can find out where my website is, or give me your card afterwards, and I'll send you a link to where you can get the presentation. We're going to have to make some assumptions here, so Jeff's going to expand the assumptions box for me here real quick. And in this blue box are some of the basic assumptions about YouTube 101 basics, which we're not going to talk about, but I just want to kind of go in and baseline the things that we're taking for granted in this presentation. Things like social media, it's about social proof, truth, transparency, and all that stuff. And you go a little bit further, duration of your videos, 2 to 3 minutes. These are all the basic 101 tips that we all get with when you create your videos. You want to keep them about 2 minutes, not longer than 3 minutes, that kind of stuff. And then down at the bottom, there's all kinds of other things that you can do with your descriptions, your titles, and those things to make your videos findable. We're not going to talk about that here today. Other people are actually going to be presenting some of these basic ones, and you should probably want to attend their sessions because those are also very important. What we're going to do is take this all these assumptions as our baseline, and let's go ahead and baseline the presentation for me here, Jeff. So what we're going to do is actually talk about these 6 factors of social influence. And just a little attribution here, I'm pulling this off from a body of research that's been done by a psychologist called, and his name is Robert Cialdini. And his book, The Psychological Factors of Influence, is something that I would recommend that you take a look at. But basically, he has identified 6 factors of influence that 6 psychological factors of influence: social proof, reciprocity, likability, commitment and consistency, authority, and then there's scarcity. And on top of that, in the yellow box, I've also thrown in truth and transparency. And the reason I threw that in there, those are my 2 additions to all of this, is because those 6 factors actually have to do with our survival mechanism for how we deal with information overload. It's not like we have a lot of information that we have to deal with all the time already, right? And the thing is we use each other as curators of information for each other, so we tend to trust each other and so on. And so that's what all of these different things are. We tend to use them as shortcuts, so we don't have to go research everything that Mel is saying, or research everything that Rochelle has told you today. We don't have to do all of that because we tend to trust them and so on. We know that she's curating information for us. So what I want to do is kind of hit each one of these just at a very high level. If we expand the social proof box, what social proof is about is just the idea that we tend to use each other and we take our cues from other people in terms of what proper behaviors are in uncertain situations. So I may not know this young lady here, but perhaps if Rochelle was to say, hey, Mel, you got to talk to her because she knows her stuff about customer relationship management. I might be more inclined now to talk to her and listen to what she has to say because I trust Rochelle, and Rochelle has given social proof over here. And so that's my shortcut. I don't have to vet every piece of information she gives me. So there's some things there that we can do when we create our videos. So when you get this presentation, we're going to be talking about these action tips in this presentation here. I've also summarized some of the studies and the experiments that kind of go with this. You might want to take a look at that at your own leisure. We won't drill down into all of those. We're actually going to be spending more of our time in these green action tips, which we'll talk about. I've summarized them all in this other green box for the summary. Okay, that's what I want to give you as a takeaway here today. Now, so we talked about social proof. Let's talk about reciprocity. These are easy. Reciprocity is just the idea that we tend to be influenced by people that seem to exhibit an attitude to pay it forward. Social media theme for today, right? So that's great. That's easy. Likability, let's go ahead and expand that. The idea with likability, again, that's an easy one because we tend to be influenced by people that we like. So that's easy for me. But, you know, let's expand that white box there, Jeff. There's actually a little bit more to likability. And there's actually some additional things there. Much as we like to think that we're above being influenced by physical attractiveness, the research actually shows that it's actually we underestimate the degree to which physical attractiveness does actually influence us. So there's some things that, you know, you can kind of take away for when you create your videos for your viewers and so on. Similarity, just the idea of being able to relate, give your viewers something to relate to, and then being able to connect with them. Compliments. Now, you might think that it's hard to be genuine about giving compliments to someone when you're in a video and they're watching your video. But think about personal types of videos, one-on-one type compliments. The easy one is to think of creating a birthday video for your friend when they have a birthday. That's a personal for, and you're being complimentary. But think about some other uses of video in one-on-one situations. There's a guy out in Simi Valley, his name is Ted Mackel, realtor, does a great job. What he does is he goes out on social forums where consumers ask questions about his industry niche. And when they ask questions, what he does is actually, instead of going back every time and just typing a response to them, he'll create a YouTube video, upload it to YouTube, take the link, and then give that back with some preamble in terms of a personal response to that person in the forum. And the nice thing is when other people see that, they click through and they'll see that and can be influenced by his responses to other individuals. Another thing you can do that's actually worked pretty nicely for me is when you do a proposal for a prospective client, and you do your presentation, maybe what you do 2 or 3 days later is you follow up with a video that reiterates the highlights from your presentation and then gives a call to action on how they can, you know, follow up with more business and so on. So that's something that we can do with compliments, and also contact and cooperation and condition association, just the idea that we want to find ways to be able to influence, or I guess one way to think about it is to condition our viewers to expect certain things from us, and also condition them to take action every time they watch one of your videos. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So let's go over here to the bottom where we have commitment and consistency. And the idea here is when people, we tend to be influenced by people whenever they give public acknowledgement about something. So video testimonials is probably the easiest one to wrap our heads around. If I was to create a video testimonial for your business, chances are I'm going to support you downstream, regardless of if your business has hiccups and so on, because of the fact that I've given public acknowledgement to your business. So that's what we talk about, commitment and consistency. And then authority and scarcity, just the idea that we tend to be influenced by people that we perceive to be in positions of authority. So there's some things that we can take away there for videos. And then also scarcity is the idea of we tend to be influenced whenever folks have the idea of potential loss. So when you're creating a video, let's say in conjunction with a launch campaign for one of your products or something along those lines, what you can do is integrate some of these messages about limited bundled offers or limited discounts and so on. But again, remember the idea of truth and transparency. If it is limited and you're going to turn it off, that discount, at the end of some time period, you got to turn it off and it never comes back. So, or at least not in the same form. So that's where truth and transparency kind of permeates a lot of these. What we're going to do now is, that's the high level, and what we're going to do now is go to the top and just spend our time a little bit in some of these main ones under the green bubble, where I've summarized a lot of these action tips for you. The first one there, let's take a look at making content easily accessible. It goes to the idea of reciprocity. And again, reciprocity is the idea of us being influenced by other people that seem to give a pay-it-forward type of an attitude. So one of the things that I think is vastly understated in terms of how we use it is YouTube captions. If you think about all of your viewers, how many of your viewers do you think are hearing impaired? And it's actually a two-way street, the benefit that this has, because if you can enable captioning in your YouTube videos, what you're actually doing is not just helping some of your viewers, and not just helping, and you're also giving the idea to other people that see that you are that kind of a reciprocating kind of an individual, but you're actually also benefiting yourself because you're attaching other words to your video that YouTube and Google can actually index and make your videos more findable. So one of the things you can do is to enable your captioning, and this is kind of where you would go. You just click the captions button, and then there's this little button down there where you can just enable that. Here's the deal, though, with YouTube captions. It's not perfect. I can say in the video, hey, I'm in a social media frenzy today. And it might translate it as, I'm in a social media mad frenzy today. So you'll have to kind of edit it a little bit. So they do give the ability to download it. So I'll explain the download button here. So there is a download that you can use, and then when you download it, it just goes to a text file. You open that up, and let's take a look at the edit. So when you open that guy up, this is all it looks like. It's just a text file with time codes and those kinds of things. The time codes are where you're saying those words. So what you want to do is just go through the text file and edit the words that you should be saying, in the text file. Leave the time codes alone, just edit the words, and then save that back down, and then just re-upload it. There's a button where you just re-upload all of that stuff. And oh, by the way, while you're in that text file, what you can do is copy that entire text that you have in the text file, because I'm going to show you a little cool trick here. If you go into the time code links in the description area, what you can actually do, this is where we'll go to the video, Jeff. So what you actually do is, let's not start it yet, but if you go down to the description area for me there, Jeff. So in the description area, see where we have the descriptions down here? In each one of those time code links, those are actually hyperlinks. So when your visitors click those hyperlinks, it goes to that point in the video. So when you've created your caption file and you've copied all of that stuff, not only are you uploading the caption file, so that way YouTube and Google can now index your video, but while you were there, you copied all of the text that was in there, and you just go in here and just paste it in there. Okay, you've taken everything in just a couple of steps. Now all you have to do is just kind of summarize a lot of this stuff and then make these all like minutes and seconds format. Okay, and then once you've done that, YouTube will turn that into a hyperlink. So now you've actually created your content and made it more easily accessible for a lot of folks. And you're taking care of hearing impaired viewers and so on as well. Okay, let's go on baseline back out of here. Great, so let's go down to something visibly memorable, and we'll come back to the video in just a second. So the other thing I want to impart is the idea that when you create your videos, try to have something in there that is visually memorable for your viewers. Some folks do this very well by wearing a hat, some hat that they wear all the time when they do their videos, and it's something consistent, right? It could be a scarf, or it could be some way that something that they're wearing. In my videos, I create this thing called the wizard snap. So let's go back to the video real quick. And so in the wizard snap, go ahead and start that up. At the end of my videos, I just say, hey, this is Mel, thanks, Screencasting Wizard, helping you digitize your knowledge, get it online, web ready, snap, and then what it does is it cuts to black, and there's that little magic puff of dust or whatever, right? So not huge. Other people do this a lot better than I, but it's just one of those things that is just kind of memorable, kind of becomes your little tagline, your visual tagline, and helps people understand. I still have people come to me every now and then, they're saying, hey, I like how you do that little thing. How do you make that? Oh, well, that's like a longer story. So, calls to action. Let's go down there. Other than cap videos, I can't see any other reason really not to have a call to action in your videos, okay? Even if you're just training people or you're giving free information, you should still have a call to action, because if you do have information that you want to share with your viewers, the call to action should at the very least be, hey, like my video. If you like it, click the like button. And again, you should do this visually. Let's click that green box or that green flag. So it could be one of these things where it's as simple as when you say, if you like the video, make sure you like it. Rather than doing that, say, if you like the video, click the like button, point at the like button. Now, I could just be in the video pointing in the air, but I know later, after I upload that video to YouTube, I will make something appear in the air here. And there's link annotations that you can use in YouTube that allow you to be able to do that. So when they click that little red box, it actually takes them to the subscribe page. Or when they click that thing that I point to, it actually takes them and makes it a like. The other reason you want to do this is because YouTube, in just the last few months, has changed their methodology just a little bit, so they're actually encouraging a lot more and socializing a lot of the activities that many of their users do on their platform. And what I mean by that is they've actually linked their profiles to other social networks, like Facebook and Twitter. So when someone likes your video or they comment on your video, that actually goes out to their Twitter stream or their Facebook if they've got it configured, and an increasing number of people are doing that, and that actually gives you more visibility because it says, hey, Justin just liked Mel's video, and then all of his friends will then be able to see that, and then that gets you additional traffic as well. So that's something you can do there. Let's scroll down to the bottom. And then so one of these things here is considering the background in your video setting. So when you click that, One of the things when I say consider your background, your backdrop, your background, I'm actually saying engineering your background. So SEL Mose does this thing that they call Whiteboard Fridays. And what he does is basically he has this whiteboard and he's writing on it and he's, as he's talking. And actually gives a lot of great authority to this individual. One thing that you can do is do something similar as well. So when you're creating, if you have a whiteboard behind you, even if you feel like you can't do these things in real time, what you might do is you just pre-position some bullet points or some diagrams that relate to the thing that you're talking about. But here's another tip. If the camera is in front of you, you got a clean white slate behind you, and you don't think you can remember it all, what you can do is take a flip chart, put the flip chart behind the camera with all of your notes and your diagrams on it. Now all you have to do is reproduce what you see on the flip chart on the whiteboard behind you. Okay? That adds to your authority when you're creating your videos. So those are all different things. One last thing before I end here. Use YouTube Analytics. This again goes to the point of authority. Go and expand that. We probably might have to zoom in a little bit. But many of the folks, if let's say you only get initially 22 or 7 views on your videos, and you want to get more, what you can do is go find other people in YouTube that maybe have more views than you. So let's say this guy here has over 6,000 views on this particular video. And if it relates to something that you're talking about, what you can do is expand the analytics on his video by clicking, see that little chart button up in the upper right, just to the right of the numbers there, right there. If you click that, it expands all of this. Gives you a little bit of analytics about how, when that person's, a time series of when that person's getting his views, and also gives you all these cool little keywords and phrases and so on that other people are using to find this person's video. So think about this. If his video topic relates to your topic, maybe you use those links in those keywords for your video when you create your tags and your descriptions. Okay? So those are just a few tips. A lot to cover in 15 minutes. You'll probably remember 10%, but you can get this from my website. No need to sign up. I'm not going to make you fill out a form. Just go to the website and just go get it. Okay? My name is Mel. Take care. Thanks, sir.